All right, guys, this is part 2 of my Excel prep for the final exam. We've done all of these. We did the open a new Excel worksheet in the previous one, figured out how to do percentages, numbers, and currency to format cells. We figured out how to do a simple formula for a percentage and multiply two cells. And we also did this, know the formulas of sum, maximum, minimum, and average. So now I'm going to go and show you guys and go over again the if statements and the VLOOKUP statements and how to create a chart using selected data. Okay, to do that, let me use our old friend, the test. Okay, I'm just going to do my weekly pay here because we're going to do a chart using weekly pay like you did on the test. So in order to do a weekly pay, my weekly pay will be my pay per hour times my hours worked per week equals this cell times this cell. Don't forget the times is that little star. Okay, if I hit enter, great. Oops, no, cancel that. And I'm going to autofill this. All right, we already went over this for the previous video. Okay, now let's do this. Let's do an if statement. Okay. In the test, all right, we wanted to write an if statement that'll say, if the weekly pay is over 600 euros, this employee will get a bonus. Okay, so let's just look at that rationally. In other words, if Ann Birch makes over 600 euros for the week, she will receive a bonus. Now, Ann Birch makes $300 for the week, 300 euros for the week. So she will not get a bonus. So in here, it should say no bonus if I've written my if statement correctly. So let's do that. My if statement, all my formulas have to begin with equals if, close bracket. My logical test, okay? My logical test is, just like I said, if Ann Birch makes over 600 euros, she will then receive a true value of a bonus. Okay, so let's write that logical test. If whatever is in G18 is greater than 600, okay, semicolon, bonus. Okay, so my logical test is whatever is in G18, all right, whatever is in G18, if it's over 600 euros, she will receive a bonus. And let's look at the syntax, okay? So after I have my logical test, which is G18, if G18 is greater than 600, I have to have a semicolon, all right? The 600, if you notice, is not in quotation marks because 600 is a number. And if it is a number, I don't put it in quotation marks, and Excel will recognize that that is in fact a number. If I did put it in quotation marks, Excel would recognize that as text. So that's why I have bonus in quotation marks, because I want to make sure that Excel knows that that is text. If I don't have the quotation marks and I simply write bonus, Excel will see that as a mistake that I have made. Okay, so let's review what I've done so far. If whatever's in G18, if it's greater than 600, my value, if true, will say bonus. Semicolon. If it's false, in other words, if whatever is in G18 is not greater than 600, I will put out the message no bonus. Okay, end of quotes, close my parenthesis. All right, so like I said, she has not made over 600 euros. So what I should see in here, my if statement, my bonus if statement is no bonus. Okay, so make sure my cursor is at the end of my formula. I hit enter and great, I've done it. She receives no bonus. Okay, so I'm going to autofill, okay, the rest of my formula here. Okay, and looks good. Okay, yeah, so Simone has made over 600, so she gets a bonus. And if you see here, we've got this little yellow sign here. That's just a warning. It's simply because I haven't locked my cells, okay? It's everything works out correctly. Some of you guys had that question on the test. That just means I haven't locked my cells, okay? Which is no problem. My formulas are correct, okay? So let's go to the next thing, the VLOOKUP statement, okay? The VLOOKUP statement. So a lot of people had problems with the VLOOKUP statement, so let's go over this. All right, I'm just going to spread this out so you guys can see it a little bit more clearly. All right, so in here, I'm going to put a VLOOKUP statement in cell B18. What am I going to look up? All right, I'm going to look up the code here. I'm going to look up the code here, and I'm going to compare it. I'm going to try to find my code in this table up here. And whatever that code is, I will output the full job description. So let's go over this. The job code here is TA. So my VLOOKUP statement will find TA in this table up here, and it'll say, okay, what is TA? Well, TA is transport assistant. Okay, that's the full job description for this code TA, and it'll put it in this cell here. In other words, what should appear in cell B18 if I do my VLOOKUP correctly? Well, TA equals transport assistant. So I should have transport assistant written in cell B18 if I do everything correctly. So let's do that. And we'll go step by step through what the VLOOKUP statement is. So once again, all my formulas will begin with equals. I'm just going to type this into my formula bar. VLOOKUP, open bracket. My lookup value, all right? What is the cell that I'm going to look up and compare it to the table, okay? So the cell that I want to look up is this one here. On the test, the cell was right beside my job description, but my lookup value could be any cell. It doesn't have to be right beside my VLOOKUP output statement, okay? It could be anywhere on my Excel sheet. In this case, my lookup value is A18, which is just right beside that cell there, okay? Once again, I put a semicolon, okay? Now, my table array. What table am I going to find my TA statement in and compare it to the job description? It is this entire table. Okay, so I want to select the entire table. I don't want to just select the row that TA is on, but I want to select the entire table because I'm going to use that entire table to compare these other job codes. So once again, my table array, I select the entire table. Then I put in my semicolon. My column index number says, okay, which column will I find my job description in? I've only got two columns here, column 1 and column 2. My job description, as I see here, my job description is located in column 2. So I will just type in a 2, semicolon. All right, my range lookup. Is my range lookup an approximate match or an exact match? In other words, is my range lookup, is it a range of values from like 0 to 10, or is it an exact match? Okay, in this case, it is an exact match because whatever TA is only has one value, which is transport assistant. So I will click on false, or I'll just type in false because it is not a range lookup. It is an exact match. End of semicolon, okay? So, and great, it worked correctly. I've got transport assistant appearing in my job description, and if I look here, that is indeed correct. TA equals transport assistant, okay? Now, I'm gonna go back, okay? Now, don't forget, I can just autofill all of this, but before I do that, I have to create a absolute reference for my entire table array. If I don't do my absolute reference, When I autofill for the rest of my values, I will get errors because it will simply drag this table array down each cell as I go down, and that'll give me errors. Okay, so once again, let's just review what we've done for this VLOOKUP statement so everybody's on board. My lookup value is cell A18 because that is the code that I'm going to look up in my column to get my job description. So my lookup value is cell A18. My table array is the entire table that I'm going to try to find the TA value in. My column index number is the column that I'm going to output my information, which is column 2, where the full job description is located. False, it is false because it is not a ranged lookup. It is an exact match. TA will only equal transport assistant. Same with SA. SA will only be senior administrator, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if I've done everything correctly, now I can autofill, and boom, looks good. So yeah, looks good. If we look here, A equals administration office. Yep, A equals administration office. So that is good, and so on and so forth. B equals snowboard instructor. B snowboard instructor. So I've done everything correctly, and I'm just going to exit out of this. And that all looks great. Okay. How to create a chart, the last thing. Everybody's pretty good at this, but let's go over that. Let's imagine I want to create a chart. I'm going to create a chart with my employee names and my weekly pay. Okay, so I'm going to select all of my names. And now I'm not going to include these cells, 1, 2, 3, these columns here, but I just want weekly pay. So I'm going to click on my command key and then select all of those cells. I go into insert. I can go to recommended charts, okay? This is a horizontal bar chart because the bars are horizontal. This is my vertical bar chart, okay? If the test says a horizontal bar chart, click on that. Great, and I'm just gonna move my horizontal bar chart down. Oop. So we can see it without blocking any of my information. And if I want to change the name, just click on where it says chart title, and let's give it a title of calling it weekly pay. Okay, and that is, let me double check, that is all the things you will need to know. Oops, let me fix that. That are all the things you'll need to know for the test. Okay. Good luck, guys. See you in class.